All right, hello, welcome to the stream. Today we will be doing kind of a long form response to the video that I responded to in a quickie by Gavin McInnes, the video on diversity. This is a video that is very much so not my typical video, so I got some questions, and I knew I was going to get sort of a little bit of rougher feedback because of the content that I was talking about and because of the person that I was talking about. And that's okay. I expected it, and I am perfectly okay with some of the negative feedback that I got, and that's was understandable, and I knew I would. But the important part about why I decided to do Gavin McInnes in particular is not necessarily in particular, but it's something that I complain a lot about when it comes to skepticism. That is, that skepticism isn't applied everywhere equally. We have in skepticism this idea that the only things that we can apply skepticism to are science-y things. So the shape of the earth, climate change, etc., are the only things that you can be skeptical about. Nothing else. Everything else is sort of outside of the realm of skepticism, I guess, which means that a lot of things like in politics they kind of get shoved under the rug, and we don't pay attention to them in a skeptical way. We just sort of let them we just sort of let them pass us by. And I'm sort of checking things here. Oh, we gotta do this. No wonder I'm talking to absolutely nobody. Aha. Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to my first live stream. So I'm sorry if things are a little weird. I'm not used to streaming on this way through myself, through an encoder. I'm used to doing it on Google Hangouts, so everything is going to be a little funky and weird. I apologize, but let me know in the chat if things are doing okay, if noise levels are... not noise, if sound levels are okay and whatnot. So please let me know that everything is going okay, and I'll every once in a while you'll see that as I'm sort of checking my mic level and making sure everything's running smoothly as well. Alright, so today I wanted to do a long form version of the quickie video that I released yesterday. Yesterday I released a video on Gavin McInnes, who is a conservative for the Rebel media, and I made this video knowing full well that I would probably get some negative feedback. People don't seem to like it when I talk about politics or anything that has to do with politics, but I think that it's important. I think especially as a skeptic, it is very, very important that we talk about things that are not just about climate change and the flat earth and, you know, creation versus evolution. I think that they are much more important topics, not necessarily more important topics, I shouldn't say that. There are other important topics besides besides climate change and the flat earth and evolution. We can tackle other subjects, and we should tackle other subjects. So I did that specifically. I released this video specifically for that reason. And I knew that I was going to kind of piss people off because Gavin McInnes is kind of popular. People seem to like him, and that's cool. Like what you like. Don't let me tell you what you should like, and don't let me tell you what you should watch. Watch what you want to watch, and like the people that you want to like. If you want to like him and you like his content, you go right ahead. That is cool by me. But even if you do like him, his ideas are still worth scrutinizing, and that's what I am doing. Mostly when I think about skepticism, I think back something that happened to me not too long ago when I was doing a live stream with our Google Hangout with the people over at Taking a Look At, and I don't entirely remember the context of the conversation. It's in one of the videos, but we were talking, and at some point I said something along the lines we were talking about ADHD, and I said something along the lines of, you know, in the States we have this big problem with overdiagnosing ADHD, and it's more of a culture problem, not necessarily that ADHD is rapidly, you know, it's this huge thing. It's just that we overdiagnose it. And the moment that those words came out of my mouth, microbloganism just jumped down my throat, and I thought that was great. He's just like, no, you're wrong, and he just instantly bitch slapped me, and that was wonderful. I was really glad that Micro did that to me. That really shows me that that he's a real skeptic, and that he cares about making sure that stupid ideas aren't being passed down, even if it's somebody that he knows. He's okay with telling off somebody that he knows just to stop bad ideas from spreading. And I thought that was wonderful. So that's why I think it's important to talk about these things, which is why we're going to talk about Gavin McInnes and why he thinks diversity is bad, kind of, but he's not racist according to him, I guess. And let's get into this one. Whoa! And see, this is what I mean about fixing things.
Went to see Spider-Man with the kids the other night. All kids love Spider-Man. Although my kids were the only kids at the theater because we have an infantilized adulthood.
So this is something that I wanted to bring up in my video right away. That Gavin is right off the bat doing something that I really hate, and something that I even brought up earlier myself, which is, don't let me tell you what you should like. Don't let me tell you what you should watch. That kind of mentality pisses me right off. And tell me if you can actually hear the audio of the video through the stream, please. That kind of thinking really, really gets under my skin. It's one of the things that I dislike about feminism. It's one of the things that I dislike about social justice warriors, is that they feel the need to tell you what you should or shouldn't watch, what is appropriate for you to watch, what isn't going to offend their sensibilities is what they tell you should watch. And that kind of thinking really Just no. Just let people enjoy the things that they are going to enjoy. It might be different than the things that you enjoy, and that's okay. You're allowed to enjoy different things. You don't have to like exactly the same thing as your neighbors. And you don't have to like the same thing that Gavin does. And that's okay. That's fine. Don't worry about it. So that right off the bat, he's already doing something that I dislike feminism for and I dislike social justice warriors for. And he's already doing it in, you know, the first 5 seconds of his video. And that really gets to sort of why my thesis of my quickie, which was that Gavin has turned into more or less he's turned into what he is claiming to fight for. He has turned into a conservative social justice warrior. He's doing the exact same things that he criticizes them for doing. He's doing it now. And I mean, come on, man. Like, don't be such a fucking hypocrite. It's okay if you're an adult and you want to watch Spider-Man. I watched Spider-Man. It was fucking amazing. I think you all should watch Spider-Man. It's a great movie. It's a great comic. A lot of the animated series is really good too. So, you know, watch it. If you want to watch kids shows, you go right ahead. Don't let Gavin McInnes tell you that you shouldn't because he doesn't think you should.
With a bunch of geriatric teenagers going to see all these superhero movies. Superheroes, by the way, are made for little kids to pretend that they can beat up adults. As an adult, you can beat up an adult.
Why would you? Why would you ever bother to beat up an adult? That is such a weird sentence to say. Yes, as an adult, you can beat up other adults, but why would you? That is the whole point of fantasies. And I don't mean fantasies in sort of the kinky kind, but in fantasy in general, the whole point of fantasies is that there are things that your heroes can do that you can't. I will never be able to wield a lightsaber. That is just 100% true, and I will never be able to do that. But just that is the whole point of fantasy, and yet at the same time, Gavin is kind of criticizing that. Like, you can go beat someone up. I can't swing from buildings on spider webs, Gavin. I can't fly across the New York skyline in a mech suit. I can't do these things, Gavin. And that's why we have these movies to sort of create these fantasies that for an hour or 2 or 3 we can escape into. And that's okay, Gavin. You don't need to be such a fucking curmudgeon about this shit, Gavin. It's a fucking movie. And of course, the other problem of him starting off this complaint about, you know, this is a kids movie. Sure, it's a kids movie. Then why are you complaining about it, Gavin? It's a kids movie. You are not the target, according to you, at least. You are not the target audience for this movie. And yet here you are about to spend 10 minutes, well, not quite 10 minutes. Here you are about to spend your valuable time complaining about something that according to you is made for children. You are, just right off the bat, Gavin, you are trying to be the victim. You are trying to get offended. Going so far out of your way to get offended that you're going to pick on a kid's movie, according to you, a kid's movie. You're going to go pick on that as a way for you to get offended. Not anything else, but a fucking kid's movie is what you have decided is the best way for you to get offended.
Anyway, I'm watching it, and I noticed there's this PC tinge to it that seems to be infecting all movies now. And what's the matter, Gavin? You don't like seeing black people on the TV? You don't like gays? You don't like seeing diversity? Yeah.
This is gonna, and I know this is gonna be a problem. Gavin is probably very racist. He comes off that way to me, at least. You know, I'll take that for what it's worth. But I kind of forgot. The excuses that he's gonna make for why he's not racist are some of the lamest excuses. Like, these are like, I have a black friend level of I'm not racist, guys. He kind of is. I think he genuinely is bothered by the fact that there are black people in this movie, and there's Indian people, and there's Asians in this movie. I think it actually legitimately bothers him that it's not all white. And we'll get, if we get to it, we'll get into this a little bit more, is that he talks about this idea about how it's in all movies, right? Which I find funny, because if you go talk to the feminist, the feminist social justice warrior types, they will complain about the exact same movies that Gavin's about to complain about. They will complain that they're not, that they're all about white people, and they're all about, male privilege and patriarchy and all this stuff. They will complain about the exact same things that Gavin is complaining about, which makes me think that maybe both of them are wrong. Because I honestly do think that Hollywood just wants to make money, and so they're going to take a very popular, probably the most popular Marvel property, Spider-Man, and they're just going to make a movie out of it. And if people like it, great. But I honestly don't think that Hollywood really cares about getting themselves into politics. Politics isn't going to make them as much money as selling the latest, Michael Bay movie, which, by the way, full of racism and white dudes. And not that that should bother you. It really shouldn't. If you like that kind of stuff, you like that kind of stuff. But it's not like there's this drought of movies about white guys shooting things and being machos and like, those movies exist. The latest Transformers movie came out this summer. These movies exist. It's not like there's a lack of them. But Gavin is going to pretend like there is a lack of these movies by personally getting offended by these movies. That's his whole deal, is that he wants to get offended by all of this. So he's going to go out of his way to do it.
What I don't like is that you think I don't like it, and you think you're blowing my mind. It's like when you see a white girl with a black guy and they're holding hands, and she looks at you like, what do you think of this? I think you're having sex with a guy you're in love with. How brave. I'm not annoyed by the race thing, but I am annoyed that you think I would be. It's insulting.
So, and I said this in my video, nobody is telling Gavin that he's racist. I mean, I am now. But before this point, no one is telling him that he's, like, he has created this whole imaginary friend who tells him that he's racist. Nobody's actually doing it. Like, nobody's going out of their way and being like, hey, Gavin McInnes, you're a racist asshole for not liking, like, nobody is telling him this stuff. So instead, he props up a straw man of somebody telling him that he's being racist. And then this goes back to this whole conspiracy of the Hollywood is now all about liberals and all about social justice and all about feminism. He's got this whole conspiracy, and it all hinges on the fact that not that movies are calling him racist, but movies are kind of making him think that he's racist, or making other people think that he's racist. It's very convoluted. I honestly couldn't explain it to you, but it is very, very convoluted why Gavin McInnes thinks that this is true, but he does. So yay for him, I guess. And it is a very lame excuse for why he's not racist. But I personal opinion, only think he is.
So these movies doing this, like, oh yeah, Spider-Man's black. I think he's gay in the comic books. But the fact that you're doing that and you have this sort of, what do you think now, buddy, bothers me.
So I don't know where he gets this idea that Hollywood and comic books are doing that to him. Like, I feel like this is all in his head. Like, it's just pure paranoia. He's so paranoid that people think he's racist that he kind of sees everybody looking at him thinking that he's racist, if that makes sense. Because I don't know where he gets this idea that people care. Yeah, that's probably the best word. I don't know if people really care that much. Miles Morales, which is the Spider-Man that he showed earlier, has been relatively popular. And I'm not sure that Marvel decided to do that just to give Gavin the middle finger and be like, hey, you racist, bro? I think they made it because they saw an audience that might enjoy a a minority Spider-Man, and there's been other ones. Spider-Man, I want to say 2099 is like half Irish, half Mexican or Puerto Rican or something like that. And he was wildly popular as well. So it's not like this is new. It's especially for Marvel. Marvel are the guys who did X-Men, which was pretty much a thinly veiled allegory for civil rights. So this isn't new. This isn't like all of a sudden everyone wants to give the middle finger to Gavin and make him feel like he's racist. This is entirely something that has been going on for a long time, and it will probably continue to be going on as society progresses and people become more or less okay with different things. You will see those minorities or groups that you wouldn't see in movies before come out, and that's okay. It's a weird thing to complain about. And I do understand the forced diversity thing, because sometimes it is detrimental to the story. It is detrimental to your storytelling when you force in a minority just to have it in there. And I'll talk a little bit. I guess I could bring it up now, but I'll talk a little bit about that now. Is that Gavin could have chosen a whole lot of reasons to be mad at social justice warriors, at feminists. He could have chosen a bunch of reasons to, but he chose this one. My favorite example is the fact that Marvel Comics have kind of embraced a lot of social justice warrior and feminist ideas. And because of this, comic sales for Marvel Comics are kind of tanking. They're not doing anywhere near as well as they used to be. Characters like Riri Williams, who's the new Iron Man, isn't doing anywhere near as well as Tony Stark was. The new Thor had a lot of backlash, and that was done because they genuinely took a minority and shoved it into a role where they didn't fit, just to try to get those minority brownie points. Like, that was the only reason they did that. And I entirely understand that happens. And it just amazes me that the one place that Gavin decided to criticize was the new Spider-Man movie, instead of which doesn't have forced diversity, and instead decided to. So he decided to pick a fight with that instead of picking a fight where there's actual genuine places where forced diversity like occurs. And this just goes back to this. He's just trying to find a way to get offended. He wants to get offended. That's the only reason that he's doing this. He wants to be offended. He wants to be the victim.
Because you're calling me racist, basically. That's what all these movies are doing. They're telling America that they need to update their horrible, archaic beliefs. But America doesn't have those beliefs, so fuck you for saying we do. And
again, no one is actually saying this, Gavin. This is all Gavin's imaginary friend. Like, Gavin's imaginary friend is calling Gavin racist, and Gavin is offended, and then blaming the rest of society for the fault of his imaginary friend. And don't get me wrong, there are people out there who say that everything is racist, everything is sexist, and you need to point it out. There are those people. That is not Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't care. The only thing that Hollywood cares about is making money. That's it. That's like they're it. They don't even care about, half the time they don't even care about the movies that they make, which is why a lot of Hollywood movies are crap, because they care more about just pumping something out that will make them money than they do about actually using their medium as an art form. They care more about that. The fact that crappy movies exist is proof of the fact that they of where their ideas lie. And it ain't in fucking social justice, and it ain't in feminism, it ain't in any of that. It's in making money. But Gavin somehow thinks, because his imaginary friend that he's made up thinks that Gavin is racist, now Gavin thinks that everyone thinks he's racist. So, it's a weird ass convoluted way for Gavin to pretend like he's not racist.
Really, even if you were a social justice warrior, wouldn't you get sick of seeing your own shit on everything? If I was a punk rocker and every movie had a punk angle to it, where the punk was the brain surgeon, and guess who saves the day? The punk rockers. They're the ones who catch the terrorists.
And if you were a middle-aged white guy, wouldn't you be tired of seeing middle-aged white guys doing everything in movies and want to have, say, some diversity in your movies? I'm just using his own logic. His logic is stupid. I don't even see this idea that social justice is in all the movies and social justice is in everything. There is definitely a push for it to be in a lot of things, but I don't think it's gotten to Hollywood. Like I said earlier, comic books is a great example of where it has sort of been forcefully introduced and it's doing poorly. But everything else is just alarmism. These people are just being alarmist. The same thing happened with video games. You know, everyone's like, oh, feminism's trying to get into video games. Nothing really came of that. There are a few things that did happen because of sort of the feminist push into video games, which were that a lot of really cool video games got censored. Like the Dead or Alive beach volleyball games, I forget what they're called. Those got censored, and I think even the last game didn't make it into the States. And a lot of that had to do with the feminist push. But again, that's an actual real issue. This whole fake anger at diversity in movie isn't a real issue. And that's the biggest problem that I have with Gavin, is that there are so many things he could have picked from. He could have picked from everything, really. There's so much wrong with what social justice warriors are doing to entertainment and media, but Gavin chose not to pick on those and instead chose to pick on movies, and he just sort of stumbles because of it.
After a while, you'd go, can we take it easy on my own favorite thing? I'm getting sick of having my favorite meal every night. And then at breakfast and lunch, too. But anyway, in this movie, it starts out and you see the new MJ, right?
Okay, so, and I'll talk about this new MJ thing in a bit, but just if you guys are watching, we will be, and I will be, and so will Gavin, be talking about the new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Homecoming, so I guess spoiler alert. In case you haven't seen it, you should. It is a really great movie. It is, I think, if not my favorite, like my second favorite Marvel movie. It is really, really good. Especially if you're a Spider-Man fan, which I am, so I loved it. I thought it was wonderful. I had way lots of fun watching it. But yes, let's talk about the new MJ here.
She's black. They've changed her now. And
okay, so this is not Mary Jane Watson. That's not her name. Her name is Michelle in the movie. I think her name is Michelle in the movie. She's not Mary Jane Watson. She's not supposed to be a replacement for Mary Jane Watson. She is not supposed to at all be Mary Jane Watson. She is a cute girl that Spider-Man has the hots for. That's it. She happens to be black, which, I mean, by Gavin's expression, he just seems appalled by the fact that Peter Parker has a crush on a black girl. But no, seriously though, it's not. This isn't supposed to be the new Mary Jane. The directors and producers and writers have already come out and said this isn't Mary Jane. Same thing with another character who, by the end of the movie, she says that, you know, to call her MJ, which is what people call Mary Jane in Spider-Man. They call her MJ, and they come as like, no, this is not Mary Jane Watson. These are not the same characters. These are entirely different characters. So, and this is just nerdy talk from me, but Gavin is just pulling shit out of his ass. This is a love interest that happens to be black.
Peter Parker's, whoa, she's so hot, that black chick. And then the super smart teacher goes, hey, Parker, pay attention. And then we zoom in on, oh, sorry. And then, of course, she's a black woman.
Of course. I mean, just, well, the fact that he has that reaction makes me think a lot of things. But, you know, yes, she's a black woman. Actually, I don't think she's black. I think she's Hispanic of some sort. If I remember that actress, I think she was the same actress who's in Orange is the New Black. And I think she's Hispanic. I don't think she's black. She's colored, and that's okay. And so the reason that I keep saying that this is okay is that this movie, the majority of it takes place in Queens, which either is the most diverse city in the world or is one of the most diverse cities in the world. It is a city where it's okay to have a Hispanic teacher. This isn't fucking middle of nowhere Nebraska where it would be weird to have a Hispanic teacher. This isn't, the setting. Having a Hispanic teacher in this setting makes perfectly valid sense. There is really nothing weird about it. And I remind you that it is Gavin who's bringing attention to this, and not me. It's Gavin. He's the one who decided to focus on the fact that the teacher is Hispanic. It shouldn't blow anybody's mind that she's Hispanic. Teachers come in multiple colors. I used to be a teacher, and I'm Hispanic, so you know at least one Hispanic teacher, I guess. So, but apparently it's supposed to be mind-blowing. According to Gavin's friend, it's supposed to be imaginary friend. It's supposed to be mind-blowing. Also, just for because this is a great freeze frame. This is a Bruce Banner right there, and I think that's pretty great that he got placed up there next to Einstein and Tesla and a bunch of other cool people. And I think that's Newton. That might be Newton. I think that's cool. Just so you know, just because I'm a nerd.
We see Flying Vulture, the bad guy. We meet him at home. He's got a black wife.
Okay, so this is definitely spoiler alert time. This is actually one of the few times that I not necessarily agree with him, but the race thing actually played a role in the movie. Is that you see Michelle, who's this cute black girl who Peter Parker has a crush on, and then later on you find out that her dad is the Vulture, who's played by Michael Keaton. So, to me, it took me aback. It surprised me. And part of the reason that it surprised me was because you had a cute white girl whose dad was white. And that, I guess just shows my inner prejudice or whatever. But I think the movie deliberately did that. I do think that the movie deliberately set up this biracial couple to have this surprise. And again, it doesn't necessarily make you racist for being surprised by this. It doesn't make you anything. We're still living in a time where, while we do have interracial couples, my wife is white, I'm not. It's still, even there, like, I was surprised. And like I said, I have a very blonde, green-eyed wife. But even that, it took me aback. Even though I'm very brown and brown-eyed and jet black hair. But R&D, you're a cat with a bow tie. No. But I do think the movie deliberately did that. I do think the director or the writer or whatever deliberately set it up that way, and I think that's okay. I don't think I don't think you should feel bad about yourself if you were surprised. I don't think you should really have any other emotion at the point where you realize that Michael Keaton is Michelle's father. I don't think that your first reaction should have been, oh shit, he's white. I think your first reaction should have been, oh shit, it's the Vulture. Of course, Gavin is going to make a big deal out of it, but that's Gavin for you.
And the other cool person in the movie is the head of the debate club. It's this cool black chick who's sort of over.
Okay, she's not cool, right? She is the antithesis of cool. She hangs out. She's a loner. You see her often hanging out with, not even hanging out with Peter and his friend. You see him and Ned, I think is his friend's name. They don't even hang out with him. She just sort of sits at the same table as them, at this big open table, because no one wants to sit with Peter Parker, Ned, and this girl. No one wants to sit with them because they're losers. And that is kind of the whole thing about Spider-Man, is that Peter Parker is kind of a loser. He's kind of a dork. He's kind of a nerd. And then when he's Spider-Man, that's when he's actually cool and he can actually do things. Before that, he's just kind of this loser kid. So to say that she was cool is way of a fucking overstatement. She was not cool. I did not look. Even in this picture, you can tell how not cool she is. She is one of those I am a rebel without a cause kind of high school students that we all knew. She wasn't cool. She didn't have a lot of friends. She said very odd things. She read very odd books. She was not at all made out to be cool. I don't know where Gavin thinks or gets this idea that she's cool, but she wasn't portrayed that way. I don't know. So that's entirely just false. Just Gavin pulling shit out of his ass.
Everything, fuck you. And there's a scene where the debate club goes to the Washington Monument, and Peter Parker's there, and they're all walking in, and then the stupid white male teacher goes,
Okay, there was no stupid white male teacher. Again, this is more alarmism by Gavin. This kind of thing didn't happen at all. So the scene did happen. I shouldn't say that. None of the people in the movie were ever portrayed as dumb or incompetent, except for one character, which was Happy, which is Tony Stark's assistant. He's the only one that was ever portrayed sort of slightly incompetent, and not really incompetent at his job, just sort of wasn't paying attention to Peter. So this whole idea that, that all the and I know he's not saying all the white people, but the white teacher was portrayed as a stupid white teacher. He wasn't. The school that Peter Parker is going to, I think, is an advanced, some sort of advanced schools where everyone's taking AP classes. So they don't have dumb teachers here. There is no such thing as a dumb teacher in this series. This is more alarmism by Gavin.
Aren't you coming in? And she goes, no, thanks. I don't want to go to a building built by slaves. And he goes, I don't think it was built by slaves. And the black security guard looks over and he goes, kind of was, man. And he goes, oh, I'm stupid.
Okay. This is what frustrates me. Is, again, there are so many legitimate reasons to be mad at social justice warriors, to be mad at feminists, to be mad at liberals. So many legitimate reasons to get upset. And the thing that Gavin decides to get upset about is a line in a kid's movie, according to him, about the kind of sort of truth that the Washington Monument was built by slaves. That is what he decided to get offended by. Not the actual real reasons to get offended. And there are actual real reasons to get your panties in a twist about liberals. There are plenty of reasons to. But this is not one of them. This is so fucking benign that it just why? Why is this the thing that you chose to be upset about, Gavin?
And that's the movie. His best friend's Asian and the bully's Indian, and it's a big Benetton ad. I obviously don't give a shit about that.
He gives so little of a shit about this that he made that Spider-Man clip his thumbnail to this video. He gives so little shit about it that he just spent, what are we, 3 minutes bitching about it. This is how little shit that Gavin gives about it. That is bullshit. Gavin is personally offended by all of this. And if he weren't, if you really truly did not give a shit about this, then this video would never have been made. Because you do not sit around and make videos about shit you don't give a shit about. Gavin, I'm starting to get angry. God damn it, Gavin. You suck.
But I give a shit.
Okay, so he doesn't actually suck all that much. I used to be subscribed to Rebel Media. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. They're not all insanely crazy and stupid all the time. They do say some reasonable things. Gavin has said some reasonable things in the past. Gavin has said some things that I agree with in the past. It's in this video that I'm yelling at Gavin, because in this video he's being an alarmist. He's being a conservative social justice warrior. He wants to tell you what you can or cannot watch because of his taste in things. Like, so don't take this one video about Gavin as this, end all be all about Gavin's character. I've seen like 3 of his videos, a couple of which I agreed with. I don't know that much about him. Just in this one video, he is being a bit of an idiot.
That you think I give a shit. And then when I got home, I checked out the upcoming movies on IMDb just to see if this was just, they're trying a crazy thing. We're going to make a Benetton version of Spider-Man. And I realized 100% of movies have a social justice warrior bent to them. Can you?
Okay, never use 100% for anything, because proving you wrong with 100% is very easy, and you're about to prove yourself wrong here. Because the first movie you're going to talk about is Dunkirk, which is a movie about white guys shooting white guys. So don't ever say 100%, because already you are wrong. The other thing is that if you go and ask a feminist, if you go and ask a social justice warrior type about Hollywood, they will all tell you that Hollywood is not doing their part in having minority. Like, they will complain about there being too many white people in the same movies that Gavin is complaining about it being too liberal or too PC or too social justice warrior. So both of them can't be right. And my guess is that both of them are wrong. Both of them are just being alarmist. Both Gavin and social justice warriors are just, they both are looking for reasons to get offended. So social justice warriors will go out and complain about how Scarlett Johansson is the major and it should have been a Japanese actor. And Gavin is going to go and complain about how Spider-Man has the hots for a black girl. Both of these groups of people are going to go out and look for ways to be offended. And that's what I really wanted to point out in this video, is that Gavin is really just become the very thing that he is complaining about. He has become a social justice warrior who is going out of his way to get offended by a kid's movie.
Pull them up here. All right, let's start with Dunkirk. Gavin, that's all white dudes.
Which already proves you wrong on this whole idea that all movies have a liberal bent. Like, this one doesn't. It's a historical movie. It has done great in the box office. It has done great by the critics. Everybody loves this movie. It's got I think it's got an entirely white cast. It's only got a few women in it. So it's very much a white dude kind of movie, which is fine. Makes sense for the time period. It's a period piece. They're trying to be historically accurate. Makes perfect sense, right? Like, this isn't a problem. But it does disprove your whole hypothesis wrong, Gavin, because right off the bat, the first movie that you show already shows you that not all movies have a social justice warrior liberal bent to them. This one doesn't, Gavin. And you're wrong. You're just plain old wrong here, Gavin.
It's about World War II and D-Day, I believe, or it's about a horrible time in World War II. Big budget film. Yes, that's true. It is all white dudes. World War II was a lot of white dudes. And this is relevant for my hypothesis here, because Dunkirk got in shit for this.
Okay, so Dunkirk did not get into shit for this. That was one of the things that he'll bring up the screen cap. As far as I know, and correct me if I am wrong, as far as I know, Dunkirk did not get in shit for this. Nobody cared. Now, I shouldn't say nobody, because there is somebody who cared, right? There is that one person who got real upset and got real butthurt. That one person does exist somewhere on the Twitter sphere, somewhere on the YouTube sphere. That person exists, but there wasn't some huge outcry for people to be like, no, boycott Dunkirk, just fuck this movie. That never happened. And if it did, it must have been that 1 week that I was sitting under a rock, because I never heard of this thing. And again, prove me if I'm right. If you can go out there and show me articles or reviews that are actually pointing out, hey, Dunkirk is racist, that are like legit, like, not fucking Jezebel. Thank you, Yupo03. I'm glad you're enjoying my videos. There's a couple of Flat Earth videos coming out next, so It won't always be about random racist stuff. I just wanted to, this video just kind of got under my skin, so I felt like it needed to be made. But thank you. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So if you can find me, and not Jezebel, but fucking like New York Times or fucking New Yorker or a legitimate source that actually has this complaining, then fucking tell me about it. I'd love to hear it. But so far, the only article that I found, and the only article that I found when I was researching this was a single line in a USA Today review, and the review was glowing. The reviewer loved this movie, said how wonderful it was, just absolutely loved it, but he had one line in it that said something along the lines of, some people might be bothered by the lack of minorities in this movie, and that was it. And then he goes on, but it was, it's a great movie, don't worry about it. Now, there were some people who took this one line and just got offended by it, went on Twitter and yelled at the author, and these are the kind of people who are going to get their panties in a twist over a single line in a glowing review. Like, that, everybody loves this movie. This controversy of it getting in trouble isn't real, at least as far as I can tell. Like, if one of you all watching this can point to me to an article or point to me to this controversy that exists, and fucking prove me wrong. But as far as I can tell, this controversy isn't real. It's all in Gavin's head, along with his imaginary friend calling him racist. But let's move on to his actual evidence of why Dunkirk is racist.
People were mad at Dunkirk for having so many white guys in a realistic movie about World War II.
Okay, so the article that Gavin decided to... Oh, hey, oh my goodness, how do I read that? Matt. I'm just gonna go with the also known as Matt. Hey, Matt, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining the stream. So, the article that Gavin pulled up is an article by something avocado, which is an Australian satire site. It's the American Onion, right? It's not fucking real. It's a joke site, and there's an actual and you should actually go, if you can, go look up the title of this article by Clancy Overall. Go look up the title and go find it, because it's actually really funny. It's a really funny little thing, and the quotes that he pulls is just like anonymous comedian complained about it. Like, it's entirely a fucking obvious satire, and it's great. It's a great site. You should actually go check it out. It's pretty great. Look up that, because I don't remember what the name of the actual website is. It's something avocado. Fucking Australians and their avocados, I tell you. But yeah, so I just got here. I'm confused. Rebel is bullshit right-wing conspiracy site. Sadly from Canada. What's going on? So we are talking about Gavin McInnes, who is one of these contributors to Rebel Media, and yeah, he had I did a quickie on this, and then people seem to have questions about it, so we're here. Hey, Marco Jacobs, greetings, following you from Professor Stick. Yes, thank you, Professor Stick. That was actually really awesome of Professor Stick to offer me to do a video for his channel. I thought that was great. I am glad you love my cat. My cat name is Hobbs. He is adorable. I love him. He is I've had him for years, and he's traveled across the country with me. He is an awesome cat. And I am trying to make sure that at the end of all my videos there is a funny picture of him. I take crap ton of pictures of him on a weekly basis, so I'm trying to make sure that there's a funny video. But in the next video there's going to be a surprise picture, because it's not Hobbs. But yes, so Paranor, yes, we are talking about Gavin, who says he's not racist, but then spends like 10 minutes in a video complaining about diversity in movies. So even the UN refused them press status because, wait for it, they aren't press. Yes, they are not. And again, like I said earlier, I'm not going to entirely dismiss everything they say. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. They do, every once in a while, say something that is reasonable because, I mean, honestly, the odds are in their favor that they will. Anything Rebel says they are or aren't will be reverse truth of the, yeah. A cat meow every video. A cat meow. Does that mean you want me to actually put like my cat meowing in every video? I am drinking beer. I am drinking a really great Imperial Oatmeal Stout, which tastes like coffee. It is fucking delicious. My wife loves this beer, which makes me really happy that she does, because it's a nice like dark black beer. It's fucking amazing. And it's brewed like down the street from me. The brewery's is like not down the street. It's like a mile away. So it's nice and local and like 10% alcohol, 9.1% alcohol. So I might get slurry as I keep going. But yes, beer or coffee would also work, I suppose. Sorry, and I am out of beer. Does he still own Vice? Who owned Vice? You don't have to tell me about that one. I don't know who owns Vice. Oh, yes, woman. Thank you. You are the best wife. See, my wife is just getting me a beer because she heard me talking about how low I am on beer. I'm the best wife ever. So, yes, this article that Gavin decided to bring up is not... is from a satire site. And that's kind of the important part. Like, fucking source what you... Source your video, source your articles. That's all I'm asking. And I rail at, oh, does Gavin still own Vice? I don't know. Did he own Vice? I don't know much about Vice. I know I made a video about ODD TV responding to Vice, so that's about as much connection as I have to Vice. They almost... I don't want to be mean because I'm not against pot smoking. Smoke all the pot you want, but a pothead news TV channel is kind of overkill. Like, you don't need that much to be like, just fucking smoke pot and eat some Cheetos and watch some TV, right? Like, you don't need a whole channel for it, but somehow they're doing it, and that's cool, I guess. It's a little weird for me. That's it. Oh, Hobbs, you are in the way. I wish I had a cat camera so you can see how in the way my cat is. Great. Gavin McInnes is the creator of the Proud Boys, and he says he's not racist. For fuck's sakes. Yeah. I am of the personal opinion, that he is actually very racist. As much as he may claim not to be, he really is. He really does. He has that slimy way of trying not to be racist. Of saying, I'm not really racist, I'm just bothered by liberals, or I'm not really racist, it's just that, my imaginary friend calls me racist. Okay, well, that's actually, so the Proud Boys is a racist groups. So that's actually probably the most concrete tie I've had to him being racist. So further evidence that Gavin McInnes is probably very racist. Hobbs,
they're making video games about World War II now with black Nazis.
Okay, sorry. Okay, there's a cat on my keyboard. Hobbs. Okay, sorry, cat. They had an incident in Halifax which got 4 servicemen removed from military. I'm gonna have to look this up. The Proud Boys, eh? Well, now I know. All right, so yes, article is from a satire website. It is literally the Onion of Australia. It is not a source that you should take seriously. It's just for funsies. But that's where Gavin decided that he needed to have evidence for this giant conspiracy to have to have this liberal bent to Hollywood. Is from a satire website, because those are the best sources. But more importantly than that, I rail against flat earthers all the time. If you're here because you saw my flat earth videos, I rail against flat earthers all the time because of this. Because they do not go down, they do not bother to cite their sources, and they just sort of accept any claim blindly. They're just like, oh, fucking Eric Dubé said so, therefore it's true. No, that's bullshit. And this is a perfect example of Gavin doing the exact same thing. Either Gavin or one of his idiotic interns read the headline and was like, Hobbs wants to play with the mouse low. Yeah, he does. Okay, you either send me the link either through Skype or through, because yeah, I have your Skype, through Skype or through a private message. I don't know. I mean, hey Gio, how's it going? So yes, yeah, it's the Onion. It's not fucking real. But yeah, just fucking, don't just read the goddamn headline. Actually read the article. And if you read the article, hey, you got me, Paranor, that's me. If you actually read the article, like I said, it is really funny. You really should check out this website. It's really funny. It's obviously not meant to be real. Oh yeah, Paranor. I remember you were supposed to talk to me about behavior therapy. So you just need to type me messages or call me. Not right now because I'm doing a show, obviously, but whatever. Jism is really infamous. Yes, Jism is very, very infamous. I think, oh god, I hate him. I've made a couple videos about him. Hey, R&D. Have you heard of the book of diversity, the invention of a new idea? I have not. How's it going, Flat Earth Math? Tell me about that book. That sounds interesting. I've never read that, so that would be cool. All right, I was in Sly's hangout. Ooh, Sly. Oh yes, Riley's Eclipse. So Gio and I have this bet, and I'm holding him up to this bet. Because I'm an asshole. So Gio and I bet 20 euros that I'm saying that Riley will. Riley has sort of put his flat Earth stance on the line with the new solar eclipse, and he says that if he sees any bit of solar eclipse from London where he is, he will sort of drop the whole flat Earth thing. And I'm saying that he will find a way to slimily get around that, and I'm holding Gio up to that. I'm holding you up to this. I don't care. Peter Wood. Sorry, I got the title wrong. Diversity, the invention of a concept. Peter Wood. All right, I'm gonna have to remember that, because that sounds really cool. I have this Skype conversation to prove it. So I have absolutely no problem with diversity when it is put into a context that makes sense. I think, and we started this video by talking about Spider-Man, which takes place in Queens. So for Peter Parker to have a crush on a black girl and to have an Asian best friend named Ned, and to have Flash Thompson be Indian, and to have a Hispanic teacher, all made sense when you live in Queens, right? Like, if the movie took place in fucking Quincy, Illinois, which by the way is bumfuck middle of nowhere, in Quincy, Illinois, and this happened, I just, then I would entirely understand this complaint about forced diversity. But if the movie takes place in a fucking city, a very diverse city, then within the context, it makes perfect sense. There really is no need to complain about it. Yes, Peter's new girlfriend, love interest, Michelle, I want to say, is very hot. She's very attractive. I shouldn't probably say that because I'm pretty sure she's underaged. But she's very attractive. Rhetoric and Discourse. I'm a teacher and I routinely tell people that I'm opposed to diversity and social justice just for the shock value. In the natural world, hybrid vigor is the way to go, not forced. Yes. Yes. I think that, and I brought this up earlier again. I'll try to move on with this video in a second. That there are legitimate places to complain about forced diversity that exist in the world. I think the Marvel comics, the newest set of Marvel comics with Riri Williams and the new Captain Marvel, those are really, really good places to complain about forced diversity. It doesn't fit and it doesn't do well, and it has been detrimental to the industry. In this movie, the Spider-Man movie, it makes sense. And then we're going to talk about that in a little bit here, actually, because Gavin is going to bring up video games in a second, which is something that I play a lot of. So let's listen to that. If I can actually hit the play button.
In a realistic movie about World War II. They're making video games about World War II now with black Nazis.
Okay, so they're not. That isn't... Well, okay. Yeah, no, they're really not. So, if... No, go ahead, complain about it. I'm gonna complain about forced diversity everywhere. No, go ahead. Because you're not Gavin, and honestly, it's Gavin that kind of gets under my skin. Thor is a girl now. You're right, Thor is a girl now. And that's a problem not because she's a girl, but because you kind of killed off Thor, and I kind of like Thor. Like, a girl Thor would be okay if you didn't kind of kill off Thor. Which I think is really the bigger problem there. Not necessarily that she's a girl. Girls can be Thor. You know, aspire to be Thor, girls, I guess. But yes, World War II game. So we're talking about Call of Duty, which is a World War II game, I think, because it's got zombies in it, though. So I don't know how, accurate it is. But I looked up this Forbes article, and it's actually it's a very interesting article because they talk about the multiplayer aspect of Call of Duty. The single-player aspect of Call of Duty is staying intact. It's still going to have white guys shooting white Nazis. Nothing is changing in the single-player version of Call of Duty. Nothing at all. It's staying exactly the same, just like it has for the last however long, fucking 20 years that Call of Duty has been coming out. It's probably more than that. Or less than that, I shouldn't say more. The last 17 years or whatever. And so the single player, the part that actually takes place in sort of, Germany, and we have white people fighting Nazis, all of that's staying the same, unless you're in Germany, because if you're in Germany, you're still going to have no swastikas, because Germany has pretty much an all-out ban on swastikas, if I remember. Geo, make sure I'm right on that one. But I think that's how it works. You don't have any swastikas in Germany, that like you can't have them in video games and stuff. But besides that, the single player is staying the same. It's the multiplayer that's changing, and the developers explain why they're making these changes, and the changes make sense, especially if you play video games. So one of the very important things about video games is the ability to customize your character. Like, that is huge. If you've ever played an MMO, hell, if you've ever played any of the more recent Grand Theft Autos, or even fucking any of the more recent Bethesda games, you spend like 20 minutes just getting your character to look the way that you want it to. And that's important to players. It gives as a player, it gives you a connection to your character. And in multiplayer, where you're going to have a worldwide audience, you want people to be able to, if you have a black player, an African-American player, and he wants to play Call of Duty on multiplayer, he should be able to build up his own character to look like him, and there's nothing wrong with that. Rhetoric&Discourse. My wife and I watched Wonder Woman yesterday. Gal is freaking hot. Yes, she is. And she lamented that they didn't cast a fat black trans for the lead role. So there's this, I wish I remembered her name. There's this extremely beautiful, like, CrossFit lady. God, she's the one who did the ninja American Ninja Challenge or whatever, dressed as Supergirl. They should have cast her as Wonder Woman. She would have been fucking awesome. Like, she's all fit and like as pretty as Gal Gadot is. She does not look to me like a Wonder Woman. Like, Wonder Woman needs to be like nice, like fit Amazonian, right? And I think that this other lady would have been much better at that. But that's just me. Okay. As long as Uncle Adolf isn't a flat, I got that, Gio. Isn't Black Woman so good? It's almost correct. Swastika. Okay, so here's my correction on swastikas in Germany. It's almost correct. Swastikas is considered an unconstitutional symbol and is banned except in artwork. There is an ongoing discussion on whether video games are art or not. Okay. So I was slightly wrong, but it's going to be banned in this game. So that's where I guess that comes from. So is it just this skin that Gavin is talking about? Yes, pretty much. And this is just a multiplayer skin, right? Like, this is exclusively these changes, and you can see it on the screen, is exclusively for multiplayer. The single player is staying the same. Which is important because, again, multiplayer, it really is a skin. It really is just for you to customize your character to look the way that you want it to. And I think that's good. Like, I don't know how you can have a problem with as a game developer, at least. I don't see how you can have a problem with your players wanting to customize their characters to sort of fit them better. Geo Strebber, the swastika hurts my feelings, just like a Confederate flag hurting my feelings should be against the law. Yes. Sounds like Gavin is raging like Star Wars idiots over Black Stormtrooper. Yes. Yes, he really is. I know. And that's actually into nerdiness. I don't like the new Star Wars movie, just to stick that out there. I think it's terrible. But I don't like it because of the Black Stormtrooper. If you know enough about Star Wars lore, the original set of Stormtroopers were clones, and then as they died off because they were fighting a war, they were being replaced by more or less normal humans. Were replacing them. So you could have a Black Stormtrooper. They never took off their helmets, and makes sense. And it's one of those places where it wasn't forced diversity because there are black people in Star Wars, and you could theoretically have a Black Stormtrooper. They aren't all clones. So it wasn't sort of stuck in there. It wasn't forcefully stuck in there. It made sense within the context of the universe. Yeah. There are new Star Wars movies. I'm only aware of the first three. Yeah, the first three are easily the best. The latest, not the latest one, Force Awakens sucks. It's awful. Just my opinion, but it's awful. I hate it. Rogue One, though, is really good. And if nothing else, Flat Earth Math. If nothing else, go find on YouTube the final scene of Rogue One. And if you are a fan of A New Hope, you will, like, it is like the best scene ever. If you're a fan of A New Hope, you will find that one. If nothing else, find that one. Vader is misunderstood. You're right. But yes, I did not like the newest ones. Yeah, Rogue One was a great movie. My wife and I was just watching it last night because it's on Netflix. Fuck yeah. So I've been kind of swooning over Rogue One-ness. It is very, very good movie. But yes, Flat Earth Math, find that last scene. If you have Netflix, go find that last scene because you need to watch that last scene. That last scene is just fucking amazing. I don't want to spoil too much because you really got to watch it. It's really good, especially if you like the first three movies. If you really like the original trilogy. All right, so yes. If apparently a skin color like not a black character, but an actual whatchamacallit, just a skin difference in the multiplayer is what gets Gavin's panties in a twist here. It's nothing else. Rhetoric&Discourse. I found Star Wars Episode 1 to make a lot more sense in the original Norwegian. The English translation just killed it. Okay. Alright. I really... So looking back, I really enjoyed Episode 1 when it first came out. Fuck, what year did I think it came out in like 2000, right? And I really enjoyed. I think I went to go see it in theaters like 3 or 4 times in theaters. I was so excited. But I was a wee lad back, not really that wee, but I was a wee lad back then, and I really enjoyed that one. I don't think I enjoy it as much anymore. Okay, let's see what else Gavin has to say here.
And black guys fighting black guys, which is the Nazis versus the Americans, because diversity has to be everywhere.
Okay, so you can't have... Okay.
Even in history, we have to enforce this pizza pie, even if it goes against actual historical facts.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, because I have not played Call of Duty in forever, but I said this in my video. If I remember right, Call of Duty multiplayer lets you fight zombies, right? Like, there's a zombie mode, a zombie horde mode. If you're going to complain about historical accuracy, the zombies might be the place to start. Because last time I checked, Gavin, there are no zombies during World War II. They just weren't any, right? And again, this is the multiplayer part. This is the part where you can customize your gun to look like whatever. I saw episode 1 on opening day. Oh yeah, Philadelphia, on the largest screen in Philadelphia. The Lucasfilm logo on this logo at the start got a lusty applause. At the end, mute stupefaction by the entire audience. Again, I think I was 2000. I would have been a freshman in high school when I went to go see it. So it would have been Christmas of my high school year. I loved it. I don't love it anymore, mind you, but I loved it then. I don't know. Yeah. Han Solo dies in the new one. Yes, he does. Spoiler alert. Here's the problem with what Gavin is saying. There were African American troops serving in the European theater. Were there now? I did not know that, Jared. That's actually very good. And yes, you could. I think if you, look through the history books, you could find enough black soldiers to make it even within the context of the game okay for it to be black soldiers, especially in the multiplayer. Like I said, my biggest problem is that he's equating the multiplayer part of the game with the single player part. The single player part I can entirely understand needs to be within context, right? You can't have a horde of African American soldiers rushing a bunch of black Nazis, like Gavin said. You can't have a bunch of black Nazis rushing a bunch of American soldiers. That wouldn't make sense. Like that is entirely. But when it comes to multiplayer for me is like, it might be set in that setting, but it's not a particular battle. It's not anything particular. It's sort of in its own little pocket universe where the rules just can do whatever. Jared, here's the problem with what Gavin is saying. He's totally dishonest to drive the racist agenda on everything. Yeah, it was. It was 1999 for episode 1, so I wasn't in high school. I take it back. I wasn't in high school. I would have been right before high school. Here's an offensive thought. Let's read some offensive thoughts. Remake the Roots miniseries with an all-white cast, for diversity. Okay, I'm going to... Oh, I love the Roots miniseries. I saw that in middle school, I think. That's a great miniseries, but yeah. Alternate reality. That would offend just about everybody. I'm pretty sure even Gavin would find a way to get offended about it. You just give him a try. All right, so yes, that's why that part is stupid. I know, Gio, you said something in there somewhere. It's not directly the multiplayer, it's initial co-op mode. Yeah, co-op is multiplayer. I mean, by definition. That might be just me being an ass, too. But, Yeah, if you're gonna complain about anything being historically inaccurate in a multiplayer game, I'm pretty sure you should start with the zombies and not the black people in it. That's just me.
So Dunkirk, though not being politically correct, counts because they tried to make it politically correct. Next.
No, they didn't. They did not, and that is the whole thing. Is Gavin? They did not try to make it. Nobody tried to make it politically correct, Gavin. The only thing that you cite is a fucking Onion article, and I know it's not the Onion; it's the Australian Onion, but it's a fucking Onion article. That is what you cite as trying to make it politically correct. It's not. That's not at all what happened. And again, if any of you, because I know he does sound like Gavin does sound like Sarkeesian. You're right, he does. If anybody can find me an article actually, complaining about this, that would be awesome. I am going to take a quick break. You all keep chatting. I need to go take a pee. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Alright, I was told that Rhetoric&Discourse didn't require bodily functions. Someone lied to me. I want my money back, yeah. Sorry. God damn it, Gio. Are you begging for subs in my stream? You little ass. No, do actually go sub to Gio. Gio has a high tolerance for pain. I have learned, and he also has this like hate boner for Anthony Riley. Like they have this hilarious, like hateful love relationship, which I love. It's adorable. They're gonna make a very cute couple, and thankfully, I think it's legal in the countries that you live in for you guys to get married. So it's you guys will have some great children, especially after the eclipse, and he stops being a flattard. You know what's really historically inaccurate? Reloading a checkpoint after you die. Yes. That would be... yes, you are... I'm allowed... It's true, Gio. You do have a hate boner for Riley. Yes, I'm allowed to be racist because I have a white wife and I'm brown, so that's my excuse for allowing, being able to be racist. And being able to say provocative things. Is Kim Jong too? I don't know, maybe. All right, let's see what. So, the rest of this video I have honestly not watched. I didn't bother to watch the rest of Gavin's video for my video because I didn't think he was worth it. Oh, Kim Jong-il doesn't poop. I see. Yeah, no, I do poop. But that wasn't a poop, that was a pee because that went through my first beer. And I'm on to my second. But, alright, so, the rest of this video I haven't watched. I don't know what Gavin says. I'm assuming more horrible racist things. If I, god damn it, click on the right screens.
What else do we got? Valerian. Okay, fictional movie, Gav. That's science fiction. That's Star Wars. Why are you bringing that in? Because the protagonist, that chick, is bisexual. And
oh no! In a future world, there are bisexual people. Wait, you drink 2 beers and you're black? No, I drank 1. It's actually sadder than just 2 beers, Gio. I only drank 1 and my bladder was full. I don't drink a lot of beer. I drink a lot of wine. I'm used to drinking wine, not beer. I'm trying to get more into beer, especially now that I found this brewery, which this brewery's down the street from me, more or less. So, yeah, I am pathetic. Yes, bisexual. A bisexual character in the year, whatever, 25,000 that this movie takes place. Doctor Who did it first? No, I think Valerian came out first, so I don't think Doctor Who did it first. But yes, we will have bisexual people will exist in the future. The scandal of it all. It's horrible. It's just, I don't know. And even so I'm finally reading this this quote on the screen here. Cara Delevingne, who I'm assuming is the actress and not the character, gets candid on annoying assumptions for sexual fluidity. So, the screen cap. Clara from Doctor Who was bisexual before Valerian was even conceived. Okay. Doctor Who cares? Yeah. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, my Whovian friends, but, David Tennant's Doctor was never opposed to all the male flirtation he got. Like he was perfectly okay with it. So I'm gonna say that David Tennant might have done it first, because I know he had a fucking Captain Jack like all over his shit all the time, and so he didn't. I don't think he cared. But Captain Jack was also not bisexual. He was like omnidirectional sexual. If that's a thing. Omnisexual, that's a better word. The Doctor isn't opposed pansexual, even with Chris Eccleston. Oh, you're right. And Captain Jack was with Chris Eccleston. You're right. You are right. So yeah, this isn't new. It's something that I brought up earlier in the stream, that like none of the shit that Gavin is complaining about is new. Like we have had bisexual characters in movies before. Captain Jack will get you high tonight. Party. I can't get high because I live in a state where it's not allowed, and I'm a teacher-ish. I'm a therapist, and I get drug tested like often enough not to be able to. Really, Casper Eccleston, not David Tennant. You and I are gonna have to have words, Jared. I'd watch all since Heart. No, I know my Who. Well, okay, yeah. So yes, none of this stuff, like none of the things that Gavin has decided to complain about are actual. Sucks for you. Thank you, Jared. Thank you. None of the things that Gavin is complaining about are like anything new. We've had bisexual characters in the past in movies and shows. And according to the screen cap that he got, it's the actress who's annoyed about the assumptions that she might be sexually fluid. It's not the character. It's not the character who's bisexual. According to this screen cap, it's not the character who's bisexual, it's the actress. Potentially bisexual. So I don't even know what the fuck Gavin's talking about, honestly. Gavin says I pulled all his knowledge from his deceased ass. He pulled it out of somewhere. Someone's ass. I can't imagine Gavin being in someone else's ass. He seems kind of closeted. If nothing else, I have to give Gavin credit for this. He is fabulously dressed. Like I am hella jelly of how well dressed he is. As somebody who wears or uses pocket squares, he pulls off pocket squares pretty well. And that jacket, that is a sexy jacket. I would kill Gavin for that jacket. He is rather fabulous. So I could see him, if not pulling it out of his own ass, maybe one of his interns. But yeah, so according to the screen cap, it seems like people are or the actress is bisexual maybe, and not actually the character, which makes Gavin's whole argument kind of odd. Or I don't, again, pulled out of his ass, and then he pulled a full first screen cap that he's going to keep up here for like 3 seconds, and people will only read the word sexual fluidity and not anything else. Gavin has a profession as complainer. Don't know if he gets paid for it though. I think he does. I think he does pretty well. A lot of professional victims get paid for their victimhood. That's one of the biggest problems with people like Anita Sarkeesian. Is, she makes a decent buck being a victim. So he probably does. Honestly, I don't know why else he would be a victim besides getting paid, getting good money for it.
They're making this a big thing, like our first bisexual protagonist.
Okay, again, our first bisexual. I am more than sure. Okay, don't hate, but the last Doctor I saw was Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor. I think Paranorm might hate you for that one. I'm not sure I will. I've only watched Eccleston to Matt Smith, actually. I might have seen... I saw the first season of... what's the new one? The newest Doctor. God, I can't remember. It was okay, I guess. Baker was an epic motherfucker. I bet he was. I really gotta watch the older series. I have not seen all... Capaldi, thank you, Peter Capaldi. Peter Capaldi, yes. I have not seen... I think I've seen the first season of Peter, and I think that's it. After Doctor Who was moved off of Netflix, I really haven't kept up, because even though I have Amazon Prime and I could watch it on that, I don't go to Amazon Prime to watch movies. It's just not a thing that I do. I go to Netflix to watch movies. Also, I can't stream it on my phone, which is bullshit. Amazon Prime needs to fix that. And third of all, I can only stream on my TV. I can only stream things through my Chromecast, which works way better if I stream things through my phone and not through my computer. Which, again, if you can't stream it through my phone, I can't stream it on my TV, and I don't have cable. That's about it. Baker is still an epic motherfucker. He's an atheist advocate in Britain. Oh, I did not know that. That's kind of cool. I have to remember that. Capaldi, since he's the first in the new region cycle, is a redo of Hartnell in very determined way. Right now, down to wardrobe. I wouldn't be able to watch David Tennant because he is Kilgrave. I know he is. You all should. He's got a really great interview where he does this threatening Kilgrave accent on an interview, and it's fucking, oh yeah, it shudders. Oh, but yes, Jessica Jones is awesome. I really wish. I know I have a webcam, but I don't necessarily want to show you all my faces because reasons. And I wish I had a camera because I do have Jessica Jones on my desk along with Gio, correct me if I'm wrong. I have Morty, who's the grandpa, right, or uncle or whatever, on my desk, flipping the bird, and I have Rocket and Groot on my desk, along with a few other toys. But one of them is Jessica Jones kicking down a wall, because I do, and it's the new Jessica Jones. It's the one from the Netflix show, which I love. It's so great. I know I still haven't seen Rick and Morty, Gio. I'm sorry. I will. Yeah, Rick is the grandpa. Oh, Rick is the grandpa. Morty's the kid. Ah. Well, I have Rick on my desk, sort of flipping the bird. Gio, I sent a picture to Gio about it. It's pretty great. The new episode's in a few hours. Okay. I even didn't like The Force Awakens because of the parallels to the new... Yes! You kind of missed the conversation about The Force Awakens, Jared. It was awful. It is terrible. It is just not... Yeah, it was just not at all. I did not enjoy it. I was talking about the how awesome Rogue One was in comparison, mostly to get Flat Earth Math to go see like the final scene of Rogue One, which is if you like A New Hope, that is like a must see scene. That is epic and amazing. And I also really like the CGI in Rogue One is also really, really good. Especially, I only this time that I notice the CGI actors that they use for those actors that have passed away from A New Hope. So, yeah, it did. It was beautiful. And you're right, ad blocker. Disney does ruin everything. I doubt I will go see whatever the newest Star Wars movie is. I doubt I'll see it in theaters. I went to go see A New Hope in theaters mostly because my wife kicked me out of the apartment. Actually, entirely because my wife kicked me out of the apartment. And I needed something to do for several hours, so I went to go see A Force Awakens. The only thing I liked about The Force Awakens was the fact that the First Order looked like Nazis again. The next one is called The Last Jedi, yeah. I am just not... I really don't like what they did. I really don't like that they did redo A New Hope in The Force Awakens. I thought that was absolute shit. Star Wars 8, a remake of Empire Strikes Back. Have to wait for that to come. Yeah. It really was just a terrible... Oh my goodness, Adblock, are you being a fucking weeaboo? Final Fantasy 13 is the best Star Wars movie. 12. I haven't played through 12 yet. I have it, and I haven't finished it yet. And I don't have the new one. I have the old school PS2 Final Fantasy 12. Maybe I'll play through it because I do have it and I've been wanting to play it. But yeah, I did not. I was just not a fan of it. It was just bad. Star Wars is based on Japanese style adventure movies. I know that Star Wars, and from interviews with George Lucas, I know that Star Wars has like a crap ton of influences. Not sure that you can pick one. Hidden Fortress, probably. I'm not sure you can pick one influence for Star Wars, but I could definitely see the Japanese adventure movie style in it, for sure. It definitely has it's got a lot of influences. I do love the original trilogy. The original trilogy is just absolutely wonderful. I still own the special edition in VHS, which I will like. I do like the VHS special edition. Okay, let's get back to the whole point of this video. Because reasons. You said before in the comments that English isn't your first language, I think. Where are you from? No, English is not my first language. English is my second language. I am from Mexico, so I am brown. I have jet black hair and brown eyes. I am very much a Mexican. I was born and raised in Mexico, so Spanish is my first language. I moved to the States for the first time when I was 5, I want to say. 5 years old, and then I spent several years sort of moving back and forth between the States and Mexico, just depending on the season. My dad's a farmer. My parents are farmers. Wait, we're watching a beaner on sub. Yeah, we're watching a beaner. It actually my Spanish is far worse than my English. But I used to be an ELL teacher. That was my job before my current job. I used to be an ELL teacher, so I used to teach all the Mexican kids in town how to speak English. But yeah, no, English is my second language. But I grew up in California, and I mostly spoke mostly spoke English in school and stuff. And then now I live in Nebraska, and it's just my wife and I, and so we entirely speak English at home. There's no Spanish, so the only time that I get to practice Spanish is when I go to the Mexican store, or I go home, or I talk to my mom on the phone, and that's about it. I don't actually use my Spanish all that often anymore. Not like I used to. And whenever I go to California to visit my family, that's when then like all the Spanish comes out because it's a good language to have. Parenter wants to hear more about bisexuals. Well, Nebraska Mouse, you must have driving down the street. So interesting story. What was it? Friday night. Yes, Friday night. My wife and I had a dinner party, so we invited a bunch of our Nebraskan friends over for dinner. And as we were talking, I was telling my friends about my parents who fly down to Mexico all the time to visit their family. And so one of the things, they flew out there, I want to say in January. So right after Trump took office, they flew down there. And then on the way back into the country, both my parents are U.S. citizens. And when they flew back into the country, at customs, my dad, who is very brown and very Mexican looking, was given a really, really hard time about getting back in the country, even though he's a U.S. citizen, has a U.S. passport, the whole 9 yards. He was given a really hard time. My mom, who is rather fair-skinned, was not given a hard time. So I was explaining this story to my friends out here in Nebraska. And one of them actually said, "That's good. That's a good thing. I'm glad that we're being so harsh in immigration on the border." And only because he's my guest did I not bitch slap this man. Also because he's like 70 years old. But I really wanted to bitch slap him and be like, my parents are fucking U.S. citizens. They live in this country. Fuck you. They are allowed to come back into this country. Okay, but so by friends I mean they kind of come to dinner. Like we have like a group of people that we kind of get together and stuff, and have dinner parties. So you know we take turns going to each other's houses. It's not like I hang out with him. It's not like he's some 70-year-old guy that comes along to these parties. So I don't even to tell you the truth, I don't even remember his name. So friend is probably not the word I should have used. Well, you'd be able to sell your backstory if you put an E before every word starting it as. This is special. Yeah, like Antonio Su. Yeah, no, I don't want to talk like Antonio. That is not a thing I want to strive for. It's talking like Antonio Subarats. That would be a terrible idea. Yeah, Antonio Subarats is Spanish though, which is different enough from me. So. Yeah, he's 70 and lives in Nebraska, so he really doesn't. Yeah, he really did. He really was like, that's great. I'm glad that they're being harsh. It's like, no, I don't think you understand that they were being racist. It's not about being harsh. It's about being racist. But he didn't really seem to care. So, yeah, living in Nebraska can be tough sometimes. What do you think about President Trump, if I might ask? I think he is a horrible, horrible mistake. I also think that we were kind of destined to have a horrible, horrible mistake when we elected a president. I think he's worse than Hillary could have been. I wasn't for Hillary in any way, shape, or form, but I think that Trump is far worse. The one bit of credit that I will give Trump is that he's entirely incompetent at his job, which has made it really, really, really easy. Has made it like he hasn't done the things that he has said he's gonna do, which I kind of like because he's incompetent. I don't like him at all remotely, but it was honestly, in a lot of ways, it was a tough choice to make. So I don't entirely blame people. Okay, so can I say this? Oh my goodness. Look at that. It's Polaris. Is that good at that? Looks like that's Polaris. Yeah, Trump is a nutter. I feel like Trump is a couple of YouTube videos away from being a flat earther. Genuinely do. Like, if Fox News ever ran a story about the virtues of flat earth, Donald Trump would come out as a flat earther. I genuinely think that he is, if even like just on that. No, what is it? Now you say daytime, nighttime, daytime, nighttime. Sexy, sexy. Oh, God damn it. I hate you guys for making me do this. Oh. But yes, Donald Trump's probably his science illiteracy is probably the most terrifying part about him is how entirely just scientifically illiterate he is. We're getting away from the important stuff. Bisexuals, yes. This hot lady on my screen is probably bi, and that's okay. And I think that's the important part, is that it's okay to be bi. I have dated one bi woman in my life, and she said no threesomes, and then I broke up with her. No, that's actually not true. I didn't break up with her for that. But I think that's a funny story. But yes, I think the actress is bisexual. I don't know what this has to do with the story. Even if it did turn out that this one character in this movie that's supposed to take place, I'm assuming way, threesomes can be awkward. I bet they are. I don't know. Never had one. I'm glad we're getting into my sexual life now. Way into the future, that somehow way into the future, people like Gavin will have a problem with a potentially bisexual character. Oh my gosh, all the chicks are bi till they get out of college. You know what? I had a I had a college professor who told me that. That all chicks are bi until they get out of college. It's very true. Actually, one of my girlfriends in college did make out with another couple once, and I was like, I am really annoyed I wasn't there. I'm a butch lesbian trapped in this man's body. Oh, goodness.
By the way, bisexual, shut the fuck up. If you're at the peak of your attractiveness and you're a chick and you make out with other chicks occasionally, I'm not impressed. You want to be bisexual? Try doing it when you're my age, when you're ugly. Like, do it with a bunch of ugly 46-year-olds, and then we'll see how bisexual you are.
Okay, so thank you, whoever said that, which I think it was Parano, or no, who said you're only Jared? Who said you're only bisexual so you get to college? Whoever said that? Oh, Matt said that. Yeah, well, apparently Gavin agrees with you. You know, I don't know how proud you should be of that. Apparently Gavin thinks that you can only be bisexual towards attractive women if you're a woman. Oh god, this video actually gets worse as I go along. I didn't actually think it did. But it does, because Gavin thinks that you can only be bisexual towards attractive women. And otherwise you're not. I know he's not. It's just I'm just giving Matt a hard time because I can. It's just I can't. This got worse. No, Gavin, you're allowed to be attracted to whomever you want. So this is one of those things that I've never cared too much about, because this whole nature versus nurture thing. If it's in your nature to be attracted to two genders, if it's in your nature and you are, who cares? If it's not in your nature and you just, I don't know, fake it, I guess, which seems weird, but you fake it, who cares? Like, who remotely cares who you are sleeping with when you're an adult? Like, fuck you, Gavin. Just deal with the fact that adults are allowed to have sex with whomever they want as long as the other person is also an adult. It's really, like, yeah, like, Gavin is pretending like bisexual women are just faking it. Maybe they are. Even if I give it to Gavin that bisexual women are faking being bisexual because they just want to make out with hot 20-year-olds. Even if I give you that, who cares, Gavin? This is something that happens in the privacy of someone's bedroom. It does not concern you, Gavin. It concerns the two adults who are fucking and not you, Gavin. Sorry, did I yell enough there? Yeah. Yeah, you can't leave, Gio. You gotta... okay, so the stream is gonna have to end in like 13 minutes because I'm hungry and slightly drunk. And I think both of those things need to be taken care of. So, stick around that much. Yeah. No, it really... it's... Again, even if they were faking it... even if they were faking it, doesn't matter. Like, it's entirely irrelevant. Fuck you, Gavin. Yeah. I don't understand. So this is one of my... I know I can't. I have to end, Matt. It really does. Don't worry. I'll actually have to end a little. Well, not end earlier, but I'll end talking about this stuff. I brought this up at the beginning of the stream, and if you weren't here, I brought this up, which is that Gavin is doing what people like Anita Sarkeesian are doing, which is that he is telling you, he's telling you what you should like, what you should be attracted to, and what you should do, and that is fucking BS. Like whatever you want to like. Watch whatever you want to like. Do whatever you want to do as long as it's within the legal parameters, right? Like, if you, as an adult, want to go have sex with an adult that's your same fucking gender, I don't care, and neither should Gavin, and neither should anyone else, because what you do in the privacy of your bedroom, regardless of how kinky or not kinky you get, is not my problem. But Gavin wants to tell you how to do these things, which is exactly the same kind of mentality that people like Anita Sarkeesian and all the feminists and social justice warriors that Gavin wants to rail against are doing. He's doing the exact same thing. Gavin cares because he won't let himself. Yeah, like he's just... Gavin.
Chick is bisexual at that age. We called them lugs, lesbian until graduation. But anyway, they have to make that about gender.
Okay, the movie, Gavin, is not about gender. Now, I haven't actually seen this movie, but the movie is not about a bisexual star-traveling woman. That happens to be a character trait, Gavin. That is not what the movie is about. You, Gavin, have spotted this one thing, this bisexual thing, and now you think that the whole movie is about this one thing. No. It is just one of her character traits, which, again, if we are talking about the movie, which it's a futuristic fantasy movie, makes fucking sense that in the future there might possibly be bisexual women around. I believe we live in a free country. You're free to agree with all opinions. Agreeing with him is highly recommended if you know what's good for you. Agreeing with me is highly... Yeah.
What's this now? Girls trip. So we got the feminist angle. Men are objectified. I'm looking at this black guy's schlong on the poster. Right on.
Okay. Again, nothing new. God, Gavin, you're frustrating me. This is nothing new, Gavin. What was that? Magic Mike, right? And I think it had like a sequel or something. This is nothing new. Women like to have nice, pretty bodies in front of them. I assume, because my wife leaves too. Yes, because I am very pretty. So men can get strippers, fine. Women get strippers, evil. Yes. How dare women actually have a sexual drive and get a stripper? That is just the worst. I mean, how dare they? He does sound really Taliban. Like, this is such an unnecessary double standard. It really is. So what that a bunch of women... So what if there is a movie made so that a bunch of women might get eye candy? What is exactly so bad about that? Like, I don't understand what's so bad about a movie being made for women to be able to go there and ogle pretty men. Porky's a great Canadian movie. I haven't seen that one. I've never seen Porky's. Yeah, these are some really odd complaints for Gab to have here.
It is. You're so empowered. Women love strip clubs, don't they? Yeah, right. That's why they're screaming their heads off and laughing hysterically while we go to strip club and just sip our beer as we stare at a tit. For strip clubs are woman church. For them, it's just a lark. But anyway.
Okay, apparently, according to Gavin, women cannot have a fucking libido. Women cannot be attracted to men and want to go see men strip for them. God damn it, Gavin. This video actually gets much worse than I thought it did. I am really glad that I did not make that a regular video and I just made a quickie, because if I had to watch this whole video, I would have finished my entire bottle of scotch, and I need that for next week. Yeah, I guess that's where we are. Last strip club I went to didn't have men just sitting and sipping their drinks. They were jumping towards the stage, cheering and acting like children. No, it's true. The last strip club I went to, which was a little bit over a year ago at my bachelor party. Yeah, no, it gets wild in there, and it's, yeah, I don't know what Gavin is old. I don't know when the last time he got it up was. I had to remove my necktie and do unmentionables with me. True story. Yeah. It's true. So these are all weird, just weird complaints for Gavin. I don't know. I'm done with Gavin. We're going to do this now. So, this is the end because I have to go eat dinners and work off my hangover. I seem to have been relatively successful because all of yous are here. So Gavin's from 1960, probably is. So my plan originally for quickies, if you've seen those, my plan originally for quickies was to do a quickie and then I was going to do a long form hangout like this afterwards. That was my plan. I would like to keep doing that, and it seems to be successful, so I might do it for the next quickie as well. The next quickie is on Foucault's pendulum, which is always fun. Fun times. So we will talk about that. I think I will, if this, from how great reception, you all have been wonderful, by the way, in the chat. I love you all. You all have been wonderful. As great of a reception as I've had, I think I will do a long form of my next quickie. I know, I'm sorry. I have lots of quickies in me, and I can't do the whole half an hour thing very often. You should talk to my wife about that. She has the same problem. But I will do a long form. Companion video, I suppose, to it. Yes, please, Paranor, please contact me whenever you want. If you all want to, I'm on Skype. Gio has told me that I'm on that other thing, Discord. Quickies are unsatisfying. May as well masturbate. I know, and genuinely, I've gotten that complaint about my quickies as well. That people are like, no, we just want regular videos. I'm a working adult with a wife and things and responsibilities. I can't perform that well every week. We have to give me a little bit of a break. But you can always listen to my soothing voice in my old videos. So far the plan right now is to have 3 quickies and then a regular video and then 3 quickies and a regular video. But because these hangouts are really so easy to set up and they honestly only take 2 hours of my time, which I didn't mean to, but it did. 2 hours of my time. I think I will do a sort of a long form companion to my cookies, just so that I can sit around and talk to you all, talk about the video in sort of more detail, because I am still the next one is a flat Earth video. It's Foucault's pendulum. So that'll be fun. It'll be out next Saturday morning, and then after that I have a video, a longer video on Nicole Cote again. If you haven't seen, if you're here and not through Professor Stick, you should go onto Professor Stick's channel, and I have a video on his channel while he was on vacation on Nicole Cote. So it'll be another video on her. This time talking about eyesight, if I remember right. So that should hopefully be ready. And then after that, I'm going to try to get 3 cookies out, but I'm going to be on Nicole Cote. Cote? Something like that. Go look Professor Stick's channel and like go back like 2 weeks, and you should see my thumbnail on there. And you should, yeah, I have a video on her already. Yep. Foucault's pendulum. Gofefe it is. So that'll be, and then, so yeah, so I'll have that, and then I'll have a couple of quickies that I kind of have planned out. And then I'm going on vacation, so I will not be very available because I will be enjoying the beaches of California instead of being in Nebraska. But yes, any of you, I guess, if you want to find me on Discord or Skype, I am actually under Rhetoric and Discourse on both, I think. So feel free to. I'm always willing to chat. And other than that, thank you all for coming by. I really appreciate it. Thank you for making an awesome Sunday night for me. And I will see you all next Sunday. So have yourselves a good rest of your weekend.